everyone. We are so excited to be here for the next several weeks with you, sharing what we know about health and wellness and kind of the most recent research that's out there. And we do it in a way that we're not going to be sharing research with you because that's boring. We're going to do this in a way where we're going to allow you to then go home and put these things into practice, because healthy eating should not be difficult, and it doesn't have to be expensive either. So just a quick little introduction. My name is Melanie Jacek. I'm a registered dietitian, and I work for Heinen's Grocery Stores. I'm what they call their corporate wellness specialist. I work out of their corporate offices. And this is Carla Ifelis.
Hi, everyone.
And she is our wonderful wellness consultant in our downtown Cleveland store. So for those of you who have not been to that store, you are in for a treat, because it is an amazing location. I think it made one of the top 10 most beautiful grocery stores.
Yeah, we did,
like
in the
world
country.
Or whatever. Yeah. So we're just really happy to be here and excited to share what we know. So how this is going to work for the next several weeks is I am going to be presenting the first piece, and then Carla will take like the last 10 to 15 minutes to do a live healthy cooking demo, and everyone's going to get the opportunity to taste what she's prepared. So it's exciting, always flavorful. She is the best at creating quick, healthy recipes that taste good, because that's important. You have to be able to sell this stuff to your family too. It's not just about you, it's about feeding your family. They have to buy into this. So a little bit about what we're going to learn in this first session. So we've got 4 weeks together. You're going to learn how to decipher food labels to make the best choices. I don't tell you to look at certain numbers and stay under them. I just tell you to look at the ingredients list, so it might be a little different than what you're used to hearing. How to navigate the grocery store very simply for the healthiest, most economical options. How to stock your pantry and refrigerator for long-term success. These are staples that you're always going to want to have in your kitchen. And then must-have kitchen gadgets and utensils and fun little appliances for easy meal prep. And Carla will go over some of those as well. So before I get started, I want to share with you, and this is how I open up many of my presentations, and I think it's most important. I actually changed my little opening on the way here today, because I thought, no, I'm going to change this opening to give everybody probably the most important piece of information that you will hear me say the entire 4 weeks we are together. So what I'm about to say to you is probably the most empowering thing that you will ever hear. It is something that we all have. It's a secret power that we all have inside of us that we were born with. I mean, we were truly born with this secret power, but most of us have forgotten about it, or we never really knew that we had it to begin with. I like to equate this to having like a check for $1 million in your left pocket your entire life and never reaching your hand in there to retrieve it. Okay, so this is really super important, and if you remember nothing else I say these entire 4 weeks, just remember this, okay? What you feed your body most, it will crave. So think about that. What you feed your body most, it will crave. This is true. So think about the foods that you crave. Are you craving chocolate, potato chips, and French fries? Or are you craving broccoli, blueberries, and salmon? Because whatever your answer is to that question, you've trained your body to do that. And there's no right or wrong, right? There's no, like, if you crave chocolate every day, you should just bury your head in the sand and just give up. You've trained your body to do that, but you can untrain your body to do that. And how you do that is simply by eating more of the foods that you want to crave. Those foods that will just give you super health, energy, vitality. All you have to do is start eating more of these foods. And I promise you, you will begin to adapt and crave those foods. Anybody have those annoying friends that say, I am dying for a salad, or I gotta have some broccoli? I mean, you just kind of want to smack them upside the head, don't you? Like, who craves broccoli, really? But honestly, I can say this, hope you guys don't have any tomatoes to throw at me. I crave salads every day, and I crave leafy greens and vegetables every day, but I never used to. I used to be a junk food junkie, and I couldn't get enough sugar, right? Because I fed myself that every day. But all you have to do is start putting the good stuff in. Now, understand, none of you were born craving Brussels sprouts, okay? We were actually born with a taste for sweet. So we were sort of set up right from birth. We wanted more sweet. That's what our palates were set up for. But that doesn't mean you can't change that. You just start feeding your body more of that. So I just want you to remember that these next 4 weeks. So if you think, ugh, kale in a smoothie, ugh, you know, but I'm telling you, your body adapts, and you have to trust that it will do that. All you have to do is just start putting the good stuff in. I'm not going to stand here and tell you you can no longer have chocolate anymore. I'm not that kind of person. We just try to emphasize the good stuff that you put in, and your body will it'll be amazing for you. So, question for you. Wherever you're at on your journey to better health, we've all been there before where we start out really strong, right? Let's take January 1st. We start out, we're motivated, we're going to get fit and healthy. We join a gym, we clean our refrigerator out, only fruits and vegetables and healthy foods. And then 2 weeks later, if we're lucky, if it lasts that long, we gradually slide back into our behaviors, our old behaviors. It happens all the time. So if you can take yourself back to where your last failed healthy eating attempt, why do you think it is that you failed? Or why do you think we as a society fail when it comes to this healthy eating thing, prolonged healthy eating? Any ideas?
Convenience.
Convenience, that's a very powerful one. Convenience, the ease of just picking something up to go. Any other ideas?
I fall into bad habits, or my old habits.
Old habits, slide right back into those old habits. Time factor is another one. Time and convenience, both. Taste. I don't like broccoli. Why would I eat broccoli? It tastes terrible. Brussels sprouts, ugh, I love roasted Brussels sprouts. I jump around a lot. Roasted Brussels sprouts in your oven at 425 for 30 minutes with drizzled olive oil, the best thing. Sea salt, the best thing you will ever taste, and they're super good for you. But so convenience, time factor, just sliding back into old habits are all really good supporting reasons for why we fail. It's true. But none of those reasons are at the core of why we really fail. None of them are at the real core of why we really fail. So why do we really fail? Here's my philosophy, and I stand by this. How you see yourself in the mirror, how you classify yourself, wherever. I call this what is. I have high cholesterol, I'm pre-diabetic, blood pressure, whatever, my knees hurt, I might be 10 pounds overweight, that I want to lose 10 pounds. How you see yourself, which is here, and then where you want to be, which is over here somewhere, more fit, better cholesterol, normal blood glucose, knees that don't hurt, whatever you desire to be. These two things, they're not a match. They're not a match. So if you're stuck in this land that I call, but I have diabetes, but I have 10 pounds that I want to get off, but blah, 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 blah. If you're so stuck in where you are, there's no way you're going to get to over there. So I'm going to ask you to kind of be a little delusional, and I want you to envision yourself as the person that you want to be. Who is that person that you want to be? You probably have a really good picture of that. Keep that front and center and believe that you can achieve that. Because if not, you're going to be stuck, high blood pressure, glucose, whatever. You're never going to be able to get over there. That is precisely why these little changes that we try to make, they don't stick because you don't believe you're that already healthy person, whatever that vision is. So anybody ever see a movie called The Secret? Okay. It's not a popular movie, but it's a movie that I've seen several times, and I love it. Quote from The Secret is about visualization. This is very powerful when it comes to seeing yourself as what you want to be. Visualization is the process of creating pictures in your mind of you enjoying what you want. It's simple. It's just sitting there in some quiet, and it's visualizing what you want to be. And that's very powerful advice. Take 2 minutes every morning to just sit in quiet and visualize. That's quoting The Secret, and I always like to quote myself. I like to take this definition, this little quote, a little bit further. Visualization is important, but to become the product of what you desire, you must not only visualize yourself, you must be that person. You must embody that person. So what I mean by that is if you have a picture in your mind of somebody who can run up a flight of stairs without huffing and puffing, has the normal blood glucose and all of that, you have got to literally pick yourself up and put yourself in that body. And now all you got to do is maintain that state of health. And so it's then easier to, choose the healthier foods because you're already there, right? A lot of this is mind. I don't believe it's willpower. A lot of it's the power of our mind. So, keep that in mind over these next several weeks. So we're going to talk from that to food labels. We're going to talk a little bit about food labels. And again, starting this series out, it's pretty important. I mean, every food has a label almost. So we want to know what to look at and what to ignore, right? There's certain things on there that you don't even have to look at right off the bat. Cholesterol, ignore it. On a food label, I don't even think it should be on there. You don't even have to look at that. Don't even look at calories. Honestly, I'm one that I would rather you look at the list of ingredients. I don't care how many calories are in it because if it's good for you, it doesn't matter, right? So, step number 1, ignore the front of the food package, okay? These are nothing but marketing billboards to get you to buy their product. So no matter what these food products say on the front, how wonderful and shining that they are, totally ignore them, okay? Totally ignore it. So for example, Fruit Loops, fiber, contains whole grains. You'd look at this and go, well, sign me up. I'm eating the rainbow, right? It's just a rainbow. When we look at this, you might think, okay, my kid won't eat anything, but he'll eat Fruit Loops. Okay, so that looks impressive, right? But when you look at, and we'll share with you in a moment, what's actually in that label, and I hate to just pick on Mission tortillas and Fruit Loops, but these were just glaringly wrong, so I had to use them as an example. If you notice the Mission tortilla, it'll say 0 grams of trans fats. It's a great food, flour tortilla, soft. Trans fats are a big, 0 cholesterol. Trans fats are a big word that have been around for a while. And how many of you have heard of the term trans fats before? So it's a negative word. And so the marketing billboard that is the front of the food package wants you to look at that and say, oh, no trans fats. I'm going to pick this up, put it in my cart. It must be good for me. Ignore that package. So step 2. So first we're ignoring the front. Then we're flipping it around and we're looking right at the ingredient list. Do you recognize and can you pronounce all of the ingredients? This is huge. This is huge. Recognize and pronounce. Ask yourself, is this ingredient a food? And if there's a question mark, no, it's not a food. If you don't know what it is, it's more than likely not a food. So, Mission tortillas. That's just a cross-section of the ingredients in Mission tortillas. I don't even know what the heck half those things are. What is that? Like sodium metabisulfite, fumaric acid, doesn't sound good. I mean, when you look at that, that's kind of scary, right? There's a bunch of acids in there. Sodium aluminum, there's aluminum in there as well. I can't recognize those. If you see, now on the line of ingredients, if you see any one of the following ingredients, now keep in mind, there's many ingredients that probably aren't good, but these are the ones I'm narrowing it down to. There's about 4 ingredients that I'm narrowing it down to. Trans fats. Now, trans fats are labeled as partially hydrogenated oils, and shortening, okay? So if you flip around the nutrition facts panel and you see, on the nutrition facts, it'll say trans fats and it'll say 0. So those Mission tortillas will say trans fats 0 on this little nutrition panel here. There it is again. It's labeled as 0 trans fats. When you look at the ingredients, you will notice that shortening and hydrogenated oil is in the ingredient list. So they lied to you to tell you that there was no trans fats in these products. And, well, I guess they didn't really lie because the government allows food manufacturers to list 0 grams of trans fats if that product contains less than 0.5 grams per serving of trans fats per serving. The problem with that is there is no safe level of trans fats in our diet. It's not food. In fact, it does nothing good. You will never hear me say don't eat a food because I don't believe in that. I believe that all foods really can fit. I have chocolate every day. Sometimes it's a Reese cup. Sometimes it's dark chocolate. It's whatever I'm in the mood for. Have a glass of wine. I have real cheese, right? I don't forbid myself of anything. But this food, any foods that have partially hydrogenated oils or shortening in the ingredients list do nothing good for your body. In fact, if you're looking to raise your cholesterol, raise your bad cholesterol, and lower the good cholesterol, eat some trans fats because it'll take you there. That's how bad they are. So that begs the question, why are they still in our food supply? That's a whole other presentation that, I mean, I could go way off on this, but don't buy the front of the package. So trans fats, get them out of your diet. Spend some time looking at the foods in your pantry at home. Now, mind you, these are only in the inner aisles, really, of the grocery store. In bakery sometimes as well, because they can be in breads and pastries and things like that. But in your inner aisles, right, where you find your convenience foods, your chips, your cereals, all of that good stuff could contain this. But don't get stressed out because usually you'll see two little products over, there will be a truly trans fat-free version. One of the best tortillas that I have found is the Ezekiel brand tortillas. It's a sprouted, whole grain sprouted tortilla found in the freezer section. 100% sprouted, no trans fats in there at all. So it's Ezekiel, E-Z-E-K-I-E-L. Artificial food dyes. So the rainbow, right? Blue number 1, blue number 2, any color that's in that list of ingredients, please. They're linked to different types of cancers. We don't need them in our diets at all. They have no place whatsoever. They're hiding out in so many foods. Do you know, I picked up a box of Life cereal, and it's in Life cereal. Remember little Mikey, Mikey Owen? It's just such a cool cereal, and it tastes great. It's got yellow, I think it's yellow number 6 or 2 or something in there. Why, You look at our wonderful Fruit Loops, and there's the list of ingredients, and we've got some yellow 6, blue 1. Oh, and they were good enough to put some hydrogenated vegetable oils in there as well. So if you feed these to anybody in your family, or if you eat them yourself, there's other options out there. Cascadian Farms makes nice kind of Fruit Loopy kind of thing. But yeah, artificial food dyes, get them out. High fructose corn syrup, we know this. This is another one we hear. It's not really a food. It's a cheap way to sweeten foods, and there's other ways. They use it because just like trans fats, it's a cheap addition to foods. So why it's not healthy is it increases the fat in your blood, otherwise known as triglycerides. Boosts your fat-storing hormones, so if you're trying to shed those last 5, 10, or 15 pounds and you're not reading your food labels and there's the high fructose corn syrup in there, I don't care what the calories are, you're not doing yourself any good. Also drives people to overeat, right? So we don't need to overeat, right? We're eating enough, and it's already easy to overeat. And so I'm picking on applesauce because you look at this and you say, oh, applesauce, original, this is a natural product. Look at the ingredients. Second ingredient is high fructose corn syrup. Now they have a natural, Mott's has a natural version, and that version does not have the high fructose corn syrup in it. So natural means nothing, by the way. Whenever you see that on a food label, just ignore it because there's no definition for natural, but I just happen to know their natural does not, I think it just contains apples in it. So just get that out of your foods. And of course, I hope I'm not bumming anybody out here, artificial sweeteners. Now, this one is an addictive substance. So, and I personally know people and myself who used to be addicted to the little pink packet there. I had it all the time. I would put it in my already sweetened oatmeal. I would get the yogurts that had it. I would get all those products with the attempts of saving calories, okay? But here's what you don't know. When you do an artificial sweetener with the attempt of saving calories, it will actually make you crave sugar and more food. It heightens your appetite. So you're eating these things thinking, ooh, but it's 0 calories, right? You're not doing yourself any good. You're driving hunger in the body. This one's important. We all have this fun little system in our bodies called our microbiome. And our microbiome is a collection of good and bad bacteria, but we want more of the good bacteria because it's essential for our health. We could talk about this for a month straight. We're just learning now about what our microbiome and the good bacteria in our body can do for us. So what happens when we feed ourselves artificial sweeteners? It changes that composition of our gut bacteria. It actually favors the overgrowth of the bad species, the bad bacteria, contributing to diabetes and obesity. The two reasons why we use artificial sweeteners to prevent these things actually drive it. So if you're hooked on them, very gradually pull yourself off of them. I wouldn't say go cold turkey because they're an addictive substance. Just very gradually wean yourself off, maybe 1 diet soda a day or whatever one you're using. And I promise you, after a while, you're going to go back and you're going to taste that and you're going to go, oh my God, how did I ever drink or eat this stuff? Because it's so powerful, your taste buds almost kind of reset themselves, right? So it's amazing what you'll find. So artificial sweeteners are known as acesulfame potassium, aspartame, NutraSweet and Equal, so the blue packets, neotame, saccharin, that was the one I was addicted to, the little pink packet, and sucralose, Splenda. That is an artificial sweetener. These are all hundreds of times sweeter than regular sugar. Totally messes with your brain. Totally messes with your brain. So I'm going to pick on Dannon, Light and Fit. 70 calories, woo, blueberries on it's got to be healthy. You look at the ingredients and you see sucralose, and if that wasn't enough, they added the other one, acesulfame potassium. Read your food labels. I would much rather see you pay a little bit more for a really good yogurt. There's one that I'm sure it's sold in many grocery stores called Siggi's yogurt, Siggis. It's going to cost more than the Light and Fit, but I'll tell you, you have one of those, especially the full fat yogurt, like the 4% milk fat yogurt, you're going to taste that, you're going to eat it, and you're going to stay full for hours. That one will have you running to the cabinet in another half hour looking for more food. So some of these foods may cost a little bit more, but in the long run, you actually eat less. So step 3 then in that whole decoding process is look for foods without labels, right? Or if they do have a label, 1 or 2 ingredients. So produce, duh. You won't see a label on those. And they don't need one because there's 1 ingredient there, right? Or if you're looking at foods that are in a package, because I'm not one to say don't ever eat food in a package, because then you're giving up things like chia seeds, which are wonderful for your health. You look at the ingredients here, it's black chia seeds. That's it. So 1 ingredient, 1 or 2 ingredients. So keep that, flax seeds, just flax seeds, right? 1 or 2 very simple ingredients, and again, be able to pronounce them. So a little bit of note on organic. I'm not one to say everything you eat has to be organic because I don't eat everything organic. But there are certain things that I do eat organic because they harbor more pesticides. But first, what does organic mean? It means produce and other ingredients that are grown without the use of pesticides, fertilizers, synthetic fertilizers, sewage sludge, which always makes me sick to my stomach when I think food grown with sewage sludge, but, or GMOs, genetically modified organisms, and ionizing radiation. So a note on organic as far as meats and milk and all that stuff, animal byproducts, animals that produce meat, poultry, eggs, and dairy products, they do not take antibiotics or growth hormones. So now, to give you an example, at Heinen's, we sell meat, Heinen's own meats that aren't necessarily organic by definition, but they are grown without the use of hormones. Those animals are not fed antibiotics or anything like that. So when you get that and you cook that, remember you are what you eat, you're not getting any of those residue in your food. So just pay attention to what you eat, because really, and I know it's all cliche to say you are what you eat, but you really are. You're eating that animal and whatever that animal had ingested or had injected in its body. So produce to buy organic, I gave you a nice little handout there so that you can take it home. These are the ones that I would suggest to buy organic. Dirty Dozen +2. These are highest in pesticides, which means they harbor pesticides, and it's harder to wash them off. You can almost like impossible to wash them off of your foods. So there's a list, and you have it in your books there, in your pamphlets there. So apples, peaches, nectarines, strawberries. Nothing better than a good organic apple. You know, I spend a little bit more because it's just amazing. Organic Fuji apples are the best. Organic Fuji apples with some almond butter. Now you'll see this is my almond butter at home that I just opened like yesterday, and I had an apple. Basically had an apple with a bunch of almond butter for lunch. But I take that sucker, I use the apple core, and I'm just like, so nobody else eats this. So if you want to taste some, you're probably going to have some of my, double dipping in there. But yeah, I mean, I just take this and I just scoop it out. I must take 3 or 4 tablespoons of this. But it really, from this and the apple together, I swear to God, I think I was full for about 3 or 4 hours. It's good, healthy fat, but yeah, organic apples are great. They even taste different. If you've ever had an organic apple compared to a conventional apple, now not all organics taste different, but apples do. There's something about it. So treat yourself to just one organic apple and see the difference. Fuji happens to be my favorite. Other foods to buy organic. Again, meat, poultry, because if they're getting those hormones and those antibiotics, you don't want that in your body, but they don't necessarily have to be organic. Like I said, Heinen's has those meats that we don't add that to it. Also, kind of to backtrack, notice that many of the Amish farmers, particularly at Heinen's, we sell a good deal of locally grown produce, specifically from the Amish. They can't technically label their stuff organic because it's so darn expensive for them to do that. It would probably bankrupt them, but they are organic fruits and vegetables. So know that when you buy local, no matter where you buy, if you shop at Giant Eagle, wherever, usually those local farmers, especially if they're the Amish, they're not spraying any of that junk on their vegetables. They just can't put that stamp. It's very expensive to have that organic stamp on there. Eggs. This is one I don't compromise on. Organic eggs, especially free-range and organic free-range eggs. And they're in your grocery list. I'm not sure if I have specific brands, but Organic Valley is one of them. Again, you are what you eat. So if you've got these little tiny hens sitting in these battery cages, stressed out, not being able to turn around, and they're producing something for you to eat, what do you think's in that egg? A bunch of stress, right? So, if you ever want to Google free-range eggs, free-range chickens, you're going to crack up. There's videos of these farms that they open the gates and let their hens just roam freely, and that's what it means. It means that they're allowed to roam freely, give themselves dirt, feather dusting baths or whatever they call them. They eat worms. They eat things they're supposed to do, and they're happy. I mean, it's hysterical. Just do me a favor if you want to laugh. Google, free roaming hens videos, and you will just crack up. They're being how they're supposed to be, which means that their stress levels are lower, much lower. And then milk is another one as well. Or just be real specific that the milk you're drinking does not have hormones, antibiotics added to it. So maybe it doesn't necessarily have to be organic, but as long as it doesn't have the antibiotics or hormones added to it or given to that cow, okay? So I'm just going to take you through real quick. I know that it can be really confusing to go to the grocery store and just shop, but there's certain staple things that I think everybody should have in their refrigerator. Economical, these don't always have to be expensive, but I'm going to just kind of take you through refrigerator, freezer, pantry, so that you can stock your refrigerator, freezer, and pantry with these things. Now, you may already have most of these things, and if you do, this is a refresher, and kudos to you, and maybe some things you can add. So if you're looking to be economical, produce, just buy it in season, right? I've given you a handout that shows when certain produce is in season, so based on fall, winter, spring, summer, so that you can find the most economical choices there. But always buy in season. Greens, hands down, are the most nutritious food on the face of the planet, okay? Greens being kale, spinach, romaine, arugula, dark leafy greens. Any of those that you see, try some new ones. Collard greens, all of the greens are just loaded with nutrition. High in antioxidants, cool inflammation in the body. So you always want some sort of green in your refrigerator. Fruit, especially berries. Those are highest in antioxidants, so blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, strawberries. And buy these frozen if they're not in season. They're just as healthy. They're truly just as healthy. I'm not one to say eat all the fruit that you want because it does contain a lot of sugar, and if you have issues with blood sugar, it can spike your blood sugar. But berries are very low in the glycemic index, which means they don't shoot your blood sugar up like, you know, a banana would, not even necessarily banana, like watermelon would, or melons tend to be higher in sugar. So berries are going to be your best bet in terms of, you know, nutrient density and also for blood sugar. Of course, veggies, that's a no-brainer. Any kind of veggie, really. I'm not against potatoes. The poor potato has gotten such a bad rap lately, and they're really not bad for you. Are they higher on a glycemic index scale? Yes, but who really just sits down and eats a big bowl of mashed potatoes? You're usually eating that with something else. But, you know, the more color, the better. So any kind of veggie. I'd love to have just raw veggies in my refrigerator. So, you know, cherry tomatoes, things that are easy, baby carrots, things that you could just grab and go. This is another one most people don't think of. So fresh herbs and spices. These do not have to be expensive. In fact, probably next to greens, one of the most nutritious things we have in any produce department, you should be able to find these anywhere, this isn't exclusive to Heinen's, is ginger and turmeric. Anybody ever use any of these in their cooking? So talk about antioxidant rich. These things are, let me just tell you a quick story. So I make a smoothie every morning for breakfast, for myself and for my husband. I make them separate because my husband doesn't like the taste of ginger, and I love the taste of ginger in my smoothie. He prefers a more muted turmeric taste in his. But so my husband also has a condition called rheumatoid arthritis. So if you've ever heard of that, it's a very, it can be debilitating disease. Your joints get attacked. It's an autoimmune kind of disease where your joints will inflame. It attacks itself, you know, similar to something like lupus, very autoimmune. Well, when we got married, he's such a lucky guy, you know, I started making healthy things, you know. Not that he never ate healthy before, but when we started getting more of the vegetables in and these smoothies in the morning, especially when I started adding the turmeric, this guy is no longer on his anti-inflammatory meds, and it's been about 10 years. Now, I am not saying if you're on meds, throw them out and just start eating turmeric, but it's just to go to show you that the power of produce, these little things that look like mistakes. When I used to go through the grocery department, I'm like, what is this? Must have been something that fell off another truck. It doesn't even look like, you know. There's power in this stuff, very anti-inflammatory. So the easiest way that you could do, you could use this stuff, you take a little knuckle of it, throw it in a smoothie. You can grate it and make some tea for yourself. You can roast vegetables with this, you know, grate it up. Or easiest way is really to make a smoothie. I'm not sure how you feel about that, but you could put a lot in there. In fact, there's so much in my husband's smoothie that he has no clue. But he caught me the one time early on adding kale to his smoothie, and he, you know, because I tried to be real secretive, and I put the, you know, the almond milk in and put everything in, and then I dropped it. He's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I said, you know what, be quiet, because you've been eating kale in your smoothie probably for the past 6 months, and you had no clue, and he feels great, right? So, you know, just hide it. It's very easy to hide, especially if you put lots of blueberries in there, then it makes it this nice, you know, purple color. But any kind of herbs and spices, hugely anti-inflammatory, so stock up, especially those two. And of course, lemons. Lemons aren't just a flavoring agent. They really are good for the system. They clean you out. Lemon water, first thing in the morning, warm lemon water, really good detoxification. If you have issues going to the bathroom, lemon water in the morning will help you go to the bathroom, and that's all I'll say. Good habit to get into. Dairy. I'm not opposed to dairy. Some of the dairy that I have in my refrigerator and I recommend to kind of stock up on, again, those organic free-range eggs. When you look at the price of those, you're going to go, $4 for a dozen eggs? Break that down, it's like 50 cents an egg, and you're getting a pure ingredients in that egg. So really, when you look at that, if you're only eating an egg, totally safe to eat an egg a day for most people. 1 or 2 a day is actually okay. You want it to come from a good source. Dairy-free milk or organic milk, or at least those without any of the, hormones or antibiotics added. I love almond milk, coconut milk. My goodness, there's so many dairy-free milks out there. Many people, as you age, you have issues digesting lactose. So dairy-free milks can be a really nice addition, to a healthy diet. Kefir. Anybody ever heard of kefir? Yeah. This is a powerhouse. It's made from regular milk. Very easy to actually make, but they sell it in grocery stores. It's this one right here. Talking about the good bugs in our system, good healthy bacteria. This puppy here is loaded with good bacteria. So if all you did was take a quarter cup of that, mixed it in a smoothie, or maybe you added it to your cereal or whatever, there are tons and tons of good bacteria. So you're really looking to reset the population of bacteria in your body. And many people who are robbed of that good bacteria, the easiest way to add it in would be to food products like this. Kefir is wonderful. And butter. Butter's back. Butter's cool again. Margarine, if you got margarine in your refrigerator, get rid of it. Use butter, real butter. I like the Kerrygold Irish butter, and specifically because it's from grass-fed cows. Grass-fed always means that those products are going to have higher omega-3s in them. And omega-3 fats are an anti-inflammatory fat, good for the brain, good for the heart, good for everything. So that's specifically why I have Kerrygold up there, because it is grass-fed, so it's higher omega-3. Or ghee. Ghee right there is clarified butter. Anybody ever have ghee before? Oh, there's nothing like the taste of ghee. It is amazing. On vegetables, cooking your eggs in it, a little bit goes a real long way. Just try it. It's amazing. You don't have to use a lot, and in fact, if you do, it's almost overpowering. So it'll last you quite a while. And then, of course, beef, poultry, seafood. I'm not opposed to meats at all. Again, just make sure that these are, good as far as, no antibiotics or hormones or anything like that. So just checking the time here. Okay, almost ready here. Gerber Amish farm chicken. This is a no hormones, no antibiotics given. It's not organic, but it's Amish, and we know that they don't add those things to it. We have a really good relationship with Gerber Farms at Heinen's. Organic Smart Chicken. Plainville Organic Turkey, Heinen's Own Beef and Pork, which I was telling you, we know specifically there's none of those things added to it. Organic grass-fed beef. And also, if you like fish, Verlasso salmon is a really good high omega-3 fish. Salmon in general is very high in omega-3s. Verlasso is really, really high in omega-3s. So if you ever wanted to treat yourself to a really good piece of salmon, it's a great. This one is farm-raised, but believe it or not, farm-raised in this case, higher omega-3s than any wild salmon that you'll ever find. It's superior. What they feed it is high omega-3 feed. And because they are collected in waters that are very, very pristine, you're not getting anything coming in to taint and pollute those fish. So, or what they eat, But wild salmon, again, that's another good option. Frozen foods, fruits and vegetables, always keep them on hand. They are almost superior, if not even greater, in nutrition than fresh, because they flash freeze them at their ripe nutritional state, and then they're stored. So if during off season things are too expensive, berries too expensive, get them frozen. And Ezekiel bread, that Ezekiel line I was telling you about, the bread itself, 100% sprouted, so it's actually better for your blood sugar, easier for digestion, more nutritious overall. Pantry staples, I'm going to go through these really quick. Dried or canned beans and lentils, these are huge. The most economical food you'll ever find, specifically lentils. They are great for blood sugar, great for cholesterol. They're way, way cheap. This is, this brand, Bob's Red Mill, is a little bit more expensive, but if you get like the regular, I think they're called, what are those called? Hertz or Lentz beans, the lentils, the ones in our, yeah, but I'm thinking of like the specific name of the company that makes it. It's. Are they in the cooler? No, they're next to the beans. Like when you go into the dry bean aisle, you'll see them. It might be Hertz, I'm not sure. Hearst, do they? So yeah, the lentils will be there, super easy to make. You don't have to soak them or anything like that. Literally 15 minutes boiling on your stovetop, and you got a bunch of them that you could add to foods. Beans, wonderful for that. Canned tomatoes, an easy staple that you can add to anything. Nuts and seeds, staple. Do not be afraid of fat, especially in the form of nuts and seeds. Walnuts, almonds, sunflower seeds are great. Flax seeds, chia seeds, fresh ground nut butters, not Jif. Any nut butter that has just the name of the nut in there, right? Peanuts or almonds, that's it. You don't need sugar or anything like that in there. It just detracts from the nutritional value. Flax seeds, of course, and chia seeds, which are powerhouses high in omega-3s to defeat inflammation in the body. And then a good quality protein powder. Good quality protein powder if you want to start making smoothies. If you are, I always suggest adding some sort of protein powder because it has that plus lots of vitamins and minerals in there. This is a plant-based protein powder that you could find probably at any grocery store. And then the newest bone broth protein powder, if you've probably heard the kind of bone broth is all the rave. Got to tell you, I was grossed out by just even the idea of bone broth protein. So I put it in my husband's smoothie first to see what he'd say. And he was like, it's actually really good. So I added it to mine. Amazing. It's a really nice, fluffy protein powder. So this is on camera too. This isn't good. Don't tell Wayne any of this stuff. So some other staples, grains like quinoa, which Carla's going to introduce to you today. If you've never had it before, she's going to make a really good breakfast cereal with quinoa, steel cut oats, and brown rice. Extra virgin olive oil, always have that in your cupboard. It's just wonderful on salads. Don't be afraid of this. Don't throw out those fat-free dressings and add some really good olive oil. Your body absorbs the nutrients in those vegetables more in the presence of fat than not. So if you really want to get all the nutrition out of there, add a little bit. You don't have to dump it on there. Drizzle it on there. It's wonderful. Coconut oil is also another really good fat, especially if you're wanting to brown things. You know, olive oil doesn't do that, but coconut oil is wonderful. Apple cider vinegar. This is an antibacterial kind of thing. This is something that you could add in addition to, you know, your oil and vinegar on a salad. Some people will just take it and put it in water. You always want to dilute this. You never want to do like a shot of apple. This is very acidic. Because they just take it in the morning, diluted with maybe about 16 ounces of water because it's that cleansing to the body. Very good stuff. High in probiotics as well, good bacteria. And Himalayan sea salt. Salt is back. You do a really good salt. I'm telling you, I've had this one for I can't tell you how long. When you look at the price, you're going to go, oh my God, that's too expensive. But you need literally one crank on your foods, and it offers so much flavor. You will love it. You don't need Morton salt, which has additives and all kinds of garbage in it. Really good Himalayan sea salt, and Carla will talk a little bit more about that. Green tea is another staple. Want a really good antioxidant-rich beverage, green tea. It's okay if you add a little bit of honey in it. It can be hard, right? Canned salmon, sardines, tuna, high in omega-3s. One of my favorite is a company that just started making more sustainable seafood called Wild Planet. This is a really nice one. Just easy lunch. Some of that, lentils, some olive oil, toss some pumpkin seeds on top. That could really be a lunch with some raw veggies on the side. And then a good marinara sauce, because you know what? Sometimes pasta's just good, you know? And one of the ones that I like, because there's not a lot of garbage in the ingredient list, is called Full Fork. And there's no sugar or anything like that added to it, which is important because a lot of these marinara sauces have sugar and stuff added. So this happens to be a really nice one. Very good tasting, no additives or anything like that in there. So a few kitchen essentials for healthy living. A lot of people will say, okay, what kind of blender should I get? If you want to start making smoothies and experiment with that, there's, the queen mother of all, which is the Vitamix, right? So that's up there. That's a pretty pricey one. Versus a Ninja, which is cheaper. And then just something like a NutriBullet, which you could probably get on sale for, I don't know, $70, maybe even less. Kohl's Cash, you could get one of those for pretty darn cheap. If you're just starting out, get a NutriBullet, Vitamix can do lots of things, I always say I would marry my Vitamix if it was legal. I love it. I can make my own peanut butter in there, almond butter, all kinds, soups, you know. So you don't have to start with a Vitamix. That's an investment. Start with something like a NutriBullet, but I think everybody should have some sort of blender. Toaster oven, they're so cheap, but when I like to toast seeds and nuts for my salads, I'm not going to preheat my oven and all that. I throw them right in my toaster oven. Food processor is a staple. Crock pot's a staple, especially if you're short on time. These could be lifesavers. You could make all kinds of things in your crock pot. Quality knife and sharpener, because you always want a really good knife set. Cutting board. Herb scissors. Anybody have herb scissors at home? These are amazing. Somebody bought this for me, and I was like, what in the world is this? And I said, because I always cook with herbs, and you literally just cut the herbs, and it gives you little ribbons, right? So instead of tearing it up and getting your hands all, you just cut them. They're like, I don't know, $10 at Bed Bath & Beyond. These are a nice little thing if you're looking to cook with more herbs. Oh, yeah, shredding paper. That's a good idea. Making pom-poms. Noodler or spiralizer, you know, now all the rage is those, you know, zucchini pastas and all of that. You could spend the money, they're already prepared, or you can buy your own. If you're looking for a lower carbohydrate, your blood sugar spikes when you eat regular pasta, it's a nice alternative and it tastes amazing. But it's like, what, $10, $15 at Bed Bath & Beyond. And of course, good storage containers, because if you're cooking in bulk, which Carla will discuss a little bit about, when you're making things, always make a little bit more. Store it in some really good containers or mason jars. Those are great ideas. So just a couple things I want you to do for homework. I want you to look in your refrigerator and look in your pantry, refrigerator, freezer, pantry, and pick out 5 products and look for any of those offensive ingredients in there. The trans fats, the high fructose corn syrup, any artificial sweeteners or food dyes. Just see what you can spot, and don't feel bad if you do find those in there, but it's amazing to see what's in our cupboards and we never even really knew what to look for. But yeah, do that so we can talk about it. We're not going to shame anybody next week, but I want you to be aware of kind of where you're at now and where you can improve. Okay, so next week, we're going to talk about meal planning made simple, quick and healthy breakfast and lunch ideas. So that's what we're going to do next week. But I'm going to turn it over to Carla. Great. And she's going to do just a nice healthy cooking demo here.
Oh, great. Thank you, Mel. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having us. Just to echo Mel's greeting earlier, it's so nice to be present on this beautiful 85 acres that you guys have. So much brain power. We felt it as soon as we stepped onto the campus. I feel smarter already, so thank you. Go Vikings, right? Okay. Go Indians, right, tomorrow. So I'm really, really proud and happy to be your neighbor down the street at Heinen's. We're happy to be downtown in the urban setting. We feel that, we'll grow together. We're happy to be collaborating with you today. A lot of your students are my customers, as a matter of fact, and many of the employees, our younger employees downtown, attend school here as well. And whenever they complain, "Oh, it's so hard," I'm like, "That's a good thing." You want your classes to be hard and challenging. You don't appreciate it now, but you'll appreciate it later. So thanks for having us. So I have a few criteria when I cook, and I'll name them quickly. When I cook, I like for my meal or the product that I'm cooking to be delicious, first off. Okay, that's one of my main criteria. I also like for my meal to be nutritious, for all the reasons that Mel stated. I like my meals to be easy to prepare. I like them to be versatile. And the ingredient that I'm using today is quinoa. I'm going to give you an example of how versatile it is. And I also like my meals and my food prep to be economical. And that just goes without saying. I think most of us do. Mel said we eat the most what we crave, okay? So I'm hoping today, if you guys learn to perhaps introduce quinoa into your routine, into your eating, patterns that maybe it can replace a less nutritious rice, pasta, even couscous, something along those lines. If you're already consuming quinoa, you know, maybe I can give you a couple pointers on how to prepare it. I've been cooking a very long time. It's something I enjoy. I like to think I'm halfway decent at it. I have many customers, friends, family members that complain when they make quinoa, oftentimes it comes out mushy, or oftentimes it comes out too crunchy. So therefore they give it up, they throw in the towel. Today I'll show you a few quick and easy steps on how to prepare it. First of all, do you guys know what quinoa is? It's pronounced quinoa, not quinoa. It's actually a seed, and it stems from Bolivia. In Bolivia and South America, it's known as the mother of all seeds, just because it is so nutritious. It's a complete protein, and by a complete protein, all we mean, that's a fancy term, it contains all the amino acids that we need to have a healthy body and promote good muscle function. Most other grains are not complete proteins. Quinoa is. So that's one of the reasons that I chose it. It's high in fiber. It is low glycemic. Mel already talked to you about what that means. Very nutritious. Tons and tons. It contains tons and tons of vitamins and minerals. It's easy, in my view, to incorporate it into your routine. You can make it in advance. Today I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to have it for breakfast. So without any further delay, I'm going to get started, and I'm going to start by putting my gloves on. You guys have the recipe in front of you, and we can sort of go through it together. In my view, to make a quick and easy and fluffy and delicious quinoa, always use 2 parts of liquid to 1 part of quinoa. So I had my skillet warming up here. And my measuring cups, a nice kitchen staple is a nice set of measuring cups. I chose almond milk today. Almond milk is very high in calcium. It is a plant-based milk alternative, like Mel talked about. So there's 1 cup. Might splatter a little. The skillet got kind of warm. 1. And we're going to take another cup.
Trying to take advantage of the steam at the same time?
What's that?
So you're trying to take advantage of
Oh yeah, so the steam is very good for the complexion. So to that, we're going to try to bring things back up to a boil. Here's our quinoa. I like to keep life simple. This quinoa has already been rinsed, therefore it doesn't have a bitter flavor to it. The brand is Ancient Harvest. You can buy another brand of quinoa if you'd like, but just make sure you rinse it in advance. So, there we are. I used 2 parts liquid, so now 1 part quinoa, 1 cup. And we're going to just put that in there, give it a little stir. Couldn't be.
Is this something you would recommend doing like a bigger batch so that you could refrigerate it for
Absolutely.
a few days?
Yeah, quinoa will keep in the fridge for a few days. So you could easily make this, at the beginning of the week, say Sunday evening. Make a nice batch of it. Keep it plain. So you may want to add different things to it throughout the week so that you're not having the same flavor profile every day. And when you go to have your breakfast each morning, all you have to do is open up that container. Mel talked about containers that are good kitchen staples. Dish out a serving, and you're pretty much good to go. Himalayan sea salt, okay? It is not refined. No chemical solvents have been used to refine this salt. It's a beautiful pink color. Mel touched upon it already. There's 84 different minerals in here, and it's all harvested by hand. Okay, so you wouldn't think to add salt to your cereal, but this one is actually like almost taking a supplement. So a nice little twist of that. A little bit goes a long way on that. I love cinnamon. Cinnamon is very good for our blood sugars. It kind of keeps our blood sugars, helps to keep our blood sugars stable. Not only does it taste really, really, really nice, especially this time of year, it's very fragrant. It's also antimicrobial. So I'm going to use cinnamon sticks. Put those in there. You could use regular cinnamon. Absolutely. I would use about a teaspoon. Exactly. I love vanilla. I just love vanilla. And I don't know if you guys have ever worked with the whole vanilla bean, but I just love it. A little bit goes a long way. It's a little bit more expensive. You give it the vanilla bean a nice little slit down the center. Open it up like so. You just kind of peel it apart. Give it one more little slit.
And could you just use regular vanilla extract?
You know what?
Would
I
you not?
actually wouldn't recommend regular vanilla extract to quinoa. It could give it a little bit of a bitter flavor.
Oh, okay.
So if you didn't want to use the vanilla bean, just choose, whatever you like as far as flavoring. What was that?
Or just no vanilla?
Or no vanilla at all. I
I've
happen
never
to
bought
be.
a vanilla bean before. I'm excited.
Yeah, so there you just slit it, and I tell you what, just that much is great. The recipe that you have in front of you is to serve 2 nice servings, 1 cup servings. So it came back up to a nice little boil. You let it turn down your heat just slightly so it becomes a simmer. Let it simmer 15 minutes. At that 15-minute point, here's my little secret that I don't give out too often, but you guys are different. Put the lid back on. Turn the heat off, put your lid on after 15 minutes, and you let it steam those last 5 minutes. That's my secret for making the perfect pot of quinoa every time. Through the magic of television, my kitchen staff prepared a nice batch already, so we don't have to wait out the 15 minutes. In the interest of time, I'm just going to turn this off. And I wanted to talk to you very, very briefly about various things that you could add to quinoa. Here's some beautiful Kerrygold butter that Mel already mentioned. I have a beautiful plant-based spread, vegetable spread.
Similar to butter, except it's vegan if you have people that don't eat animal products.
Raisins, honey, low glycemic. Mel talked about it already. Maple syrup, beautiful, low glycemic sweetener.
Not log cabin maple syrup, but like real maple
Right.
syrup. Right.
Yeah, I have the Heinen's Organic here. Toasted almonds, okay, very, very high in the good fats. Toasted coconut, okay, and we don't store the fat in coconut. We don't. We use the fat in coconut for energy. We burn it. So you'll never get fat eating these types of fat. Berries, again, berries, beautiful, beautiful berries. And I also have apples here. And one of my favorite little kitchen gadgets is an apple core. Oh, just makes life a little bit easier. I think most of you probably know how to use it. I just love it. I have an organic Honeycrisp apple right here. Move my pan slightly. And that's all there is to it. Okay. You could add goji berries. You know, a lot of fiber and nutrition in those. I have some powdered peanut butter. You could make almost any flavor profile that you want out of the quinoa. It's a blank palette, a very nutritious blank palette or canvas until you start bringing it to life with flavor. Okay, so I'll get the pot and we can all have a sample.
Yeah.
And I think Mel will entertain questions at this point.
We could certainly take questions, and I can help. Are we going to have everybody? We'll put some in here, and then they can add their own toppings to
Sure.
it? Was that the idea?
Sure, I'm just going to set this up on the table.
Okay.
And
What can I move out of the way for you?
oh, let's see here. Maybe, yeah, just I'll make a little space right in the middle there.
Okay. Take the earth balance.
Did anybody have any quick questions about the preparation of quinoa? You may have made it in the past, but at least at the store all the time, I get people that say, oh, I don't really make quinoa because I can never get it to turn out. So everybody okay? Okay.